Welcome back to Intricacies of Michelle. On this episode, it's going to be exciting, y'all. We're going to talk about my former red flags and my green flags. One of my former red flags is the whole I can fix it era. I believed I could emotionally rehab people and, you know, not that I was a licensed professional, but I thought I could fix them. But, I'm not a priest and I can't fix them through the power of God or otherwise. And I know that now. And now I look for people who are more whole and don't need fixing. I did a lot of over functioning in relationships, and I would carry 90% of their emotional labor. And then I would call it being supportive because I thought that's what I needed to be. And I needed to placate whoever it was so they would stick around. I would stay too long because I saw potential. That was a big problem for me. I did that probably in my marriage and in a relationship or two or three or so after my marriage. Potential is not a personality trait, y'all. Another thing I would do is take responsibility for other people's feelings. I am definitely guilty of having done that in the past. If someone was upset, I assumed it was my job to fix it. Now, I let adults manage their own emotional weather and I give them space to think through their issues and their struggles and make a decision. I'm not their mommy and I'm not their bestie and I'm not the one that needs to help them sift through all of their trials and tribulations. And that takes a great deal of stress off of me, to be honest. Another former red flag of mine is ignoring my intuition to keep the peace. You'll notice a theme. Keeping the peace is definitely a theme, actually. I used to ignore my instincts, like a Homeland Security threat detection system, and I shut them down and I move on. I'm not here to fix people. And I'm happy to say that is no longer a red flag of mine. Like Elsa and Anna, I like to let it go, let it go. Accepting breadcrumbs because I didn't want to seem like too much is another former red flag. I am, in fact, enough, and the right people will be able to handle that. I believe that and I live by that and I love that. Another former red flag, actually, I'm not sure if this is a red flag or if it's former, but over explaining myself. I do that a lot. I've read that that is part of ADHD, and I'm happy to own that because I feel like I need to give TED Talks just to justify what I've said. I want you to know that I know the details and I've got them, and I want to explain them to you like I did just now. I would like to say that I give a one sentence answer and close the door and move forward now, but that would be lying to you. And this is about being honest and upfront and vulnerable. That word is weird. It's kind of like the word moist. It's just weird. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to do here. I used to think loyalty meant endurance. I stayed loyal to situations long after I knew that they were no longer deserving of me. One of those interesting former red flags is mistaking chaos for chemistry. And I know a lot of us do that, both women and men, but I think more women maybe on this one. Chaos is not chemistry, y'all. it feels like a roller coaster and it feels good and there's a whole chase involved. You call it passion, but it's not. It's distraction, and it's actually offensive. Like, if I don't mean enough to you for you to lock it down and stop playing with me, then I have no need for this. So I'm definitely adding this to the former red flags because chaos does not mean clarity. And I'm choosing clarity over chaos going forward. That's just how it's going to be. I'm protecting my peace. That's how I live, and that's how I want to show the world that I live. This one is probably my biggest former red flag. I was an emotional first responder. I know that seems odd, but I was, and I did, and I don't want to do that anymore. You should know that I care without me rushing in to save you from whatever trial you've got in front of you, whether that's a horrible ex, which I don't want to hear about. If you're not past your horrible ex and you haven't done the work to get yourself right with that person, then truly, and not meant to be an affront to your fragile soul, but that's a you problem. And you need to work on that before you can be someone's rock and foundation. Like, if she was horrible, that's cool. I understand that. Mention it, move on, but don't live there. With that being said, now I want to show up where I'm wanted and where the person has space to have a good, solid, wonderful relationship. I'm ready for that. Are you? On that note, let's move forward and talk about my green flags list. I communicate clearly and calmly now. I think that is an amazing green flag. I hope other people think that way. Like the men I'm going to date, I need you to think that way. Get in that headset. I don't weaponize silence, tone, or confusion. I say what I mean without theatrics. Maybe a lot of squirrels, but not theatrics. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. Another green flag for me is that I self-respect instead of self-implode. I actually observe my own patterns rather than blaming it on other people. I don't think that's fair. And I think we all come to relationships from different places. And it's important to know what makes you tick and how you got to where you are and what's going to be the best move for you going forward. And I think open communication is important and giving people the benefit of the doubt. I really like this green flag about myself. I set boundaries without apologizing, and I'm trying to teach my girls that as well. Boundaries are okay. No means no in every situation. You figure it out. If you ask me a question and I say no, that's my answer, period, the end. No further discussion is really needed because, again, in every situation, no means no. I no longer chase, I choose. That has made a huge personal difference to me and become a green flag in the process. I'm not auditioning people anymore. I'm evaluating them and I'm evaluating their fit into my life and with my soul. My soul makes a difference. It warns me if I need to be warned, and it tells me to be calm when I need to be calm. I believe that. I know everybody might think that's weird, but I really don't care because weird is part of who I am. So I'm cool with it. Another of my green flags is that I know how to regulate my emotions. I wasn't always like that. I don't spiral. I don't lash out. And I don't make my feelings someone else's problem. I evaluate what I'm doing and what I'm saying and how I'm reacting. And if I choose silence above lashing out, then I consider that to be a positive. I am consistent. People know exactly where they stand with me. I don't mince words. I don't believe in living in the gray area. If we've had some sort of disagreement, I would much rather talk about it and resolve it rather than hang on to it, because my creative brain will make up a whole story in which you're the evil king in the situation. And I don't want to live like that. All that does is bring me down and throw punches at our friendship or relationship. I no longer choose to do that. I'd like to be clear and concise as much as I can be without all the squirrels. I don't confuse intensity with intimacy. That's a huge mistake. I want connection, not chaos. So I look for that and I accept that. And if I don't have that, I don't move forward. I take accountability. If I mess up, I own it. We talk about it and we move forward. That doesn't mean I expect a blanket apology or to offer a blanket apology. If I mess up, I own it. That's just how it is. To me, that's taking accountability, owning the mess up. I choose peace over being right. This isn't because I'm passive. This is because I'm wise enough to know that peace is the better way for my body to stay steady and to remain grounded. I finally know my worth. I didn't know if I would ever get to that point, but I do now. I know my worth. I don't shrink. I don't over-explain. I definitely don't negotiate my value anymore. I'm a very capable woman. I run a lot of things. I've got an internationally heard podcast. I've got a family. I take care of my people, my friends, my family. I don't shrink anymore. I know I've got things going the right direction, and I'm proud of myself. These are some words I wasn't sure I would ever say. So I've tagged this on to the end of my YouTube videos for this podcast. I've got a boyfriend application out there, and honestly, I created that just to be humorous because that's how I live. I live in a state of humor. If you can't find some funny in the situation, then you're a sad human. And I hope you find some good in the world. The boyfriend application QR code is at the end of the YouTube videos. You can find it there. I hope you'll use it. I don't have any way to trace it at all, unless you put your information on there to be contacted. I truly cannot trace it. I would love to get your feedback. If you think there are other questions I should add to it, DM me. You can DM me at Intricacies of Michelle or at Rebel Sage Perspectives. I want to thank you for watching or listening today. This podcast has meant the world to me. It's very much a hobby podcast. I wanted to do this 2 years ago. And when I asked around and kind of put feelers out, people were like, oh my God, why would you do that? Why would you share all this about yourself? It makes you look desperate. And I'm like, no, maybe, yeah, 2 years ago, I probably thought that. But I don't care now. This is for me. I'm doing this show for me because I love myself, and I think it's a great way to talk about the things that other people won't talk about. Plus, I really hate small talk. So if I meet somebody, I can just refer them to the podcast. Be like, if you want to know me, listen to my podcast. Anyway, thank you, listeners. I hope you'll come back for the next episode. I hope you're having fun getting to know me and my friends as we take on the crazy podcast world. Thank you to the listeners in Sweden. That's wild to me, but thank you for listening in Sweden, in Ireland, in Germany, in Japan, and all across the United States. I love y'all, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.
I will search for you through 1,000 worlds and 10,000 lifetimes until I find you.